Hi there. One of the common questions I've been getting recently regarding the Yamaha DX5 is how to save voice data either from a bank location or the edit buffer into a specific location rather than the same location from where the edit buffer was initiated. This is actually quite a common and simple thing to do, but it does require a little bit of understanding about the esoteric way in which the panel controls operate. So in this example, if I'm going to select here the internal bank A3 and then voice 7, and you can see from the display I have a custom FM piano sound here. All very basic. Now I'm in single voice mode at the moment, but if I go into edit mode, this would be, as I'm editing the parameters, this would be the type of situation we find ourselves in, and you can see that the currently selected voice is, these LEDs are flashing, showing the voice is in edit mode. But it doesn't matter if you're in edit mode or you just have the voice selected for performance, the procedure is the same. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is to turn the memory protection off. So we hit the function button and the display will basically go to the last function you had selected, in this case B5A. I'm going to hit P7 and you see that the internal memory write protect screen comes up, but it might be on a different screen depending on the last time you used it. Usually it will default to this first screen, and you can see that the memory protect is off on this particular unit, and this retains this setting as long as the machine is powered up. I can obviously change that by the yes and no buttons here, and you can see that the screen toggles as I turn them. So that's done. I can now come out of function just by toggling that mode. So now we want to save this voice, internal A3 voice 7, to a different location, and I'm going to stick it in A11, which by default is some kind of brass sound on the instrument. So the first thing we need to do is hit the store button, and you can see that by default it comes up with the store all screen, and that's basically going to store everything we're editing into the currently selected voice. I haven't made any changes to this voice, but I don't want it in A37, I want it in A11. So the trick here is to switch to over here, hit the no button, and this will cycle through the pages of the store menu, and you can now see we've got store voice, and it's doing the same thing. It's basically saying from A37 to A37. Now here's the trick. To change where the to location is, we simply use the bank and voice buttons. So in this case I'm going to select A1, and you can see that it changes immediately to A1. It's still on voice 7, and then if I hit voice 1, it changes to A11, which is what we want, and it gives you the name of the voice that's currently in that location. And then we simply hit yes to store the voice, answering the question or the flashing cursor there. And you can now see it's done it, and it's gone back to A37. Just to validate that it's done it correctly, you go to A1 and 1, and you can now see that the poly voice, the FM poly, is back in that location. Now if I've made a mistake there, I can simply get the cartridge that came with the machine, hit cartridge. You can see that A11 is the horn section, that's the default voice in A11, and then I can go ahead and hit store. I'm going to move from store all again by hitting the no button, and that comes to the desired location, which in this case is the same one. Now the other trick here is to switch this as external, in other words the cartridge, to internal. You need to basically change by pressing the cartridge A button and deselect that. Now it's basically going to A11. If I wanted to do it somewhere else, like in voice 3, I can select that. I want it in 1, and then I'm going to hit yes to store that. And now I've set it back. If I go to undo the cartridge again, now I'm in A11, it's back to the factory default. And that's it. It's basically a question of just making sure that you're in the single voice store mode, which is cycling through this screen with -1, and then hitting the panel buttons for the bank and the voice that you want to save it to, and then yes, of course, to complete the operation. Hope that's useful.